Hello student, today I shall start a new chapter and it is chapter number 25th and the name of the chapter is the Parliament. Now in this chapter we will study about the Indian Parliament, and it is the highest lawmaking body in the country and the most important symbol of Indian democracy. Now we will see the houses of Indian Parliament and how the Parliament works. Indian Parliament, it is the highest lawmaking body. It makes law for the entire country, and the Parliament consists of the President of India, Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. Indian Parliament is called as the bicameral legislature because of having two houses, and the framer of Indian Constitution, why they choose a parliamentary form of government, or why did India choose a parliamentary form of government? Number of causes are there, and we will see. First, it is the British ruled India for about 300 years or more, and the British central administration, it was based on the parliamentary system, and the framer of the Indian Constitution, they knew about its working, and the Indians, they were acquainted with the parliamentary system, and that is why the Indian leader, they decided to implement the parliamentary system of government in India. Second, it is in the parliamentary form of government, the executive is also part of the legislature, and because of this, executive means the council of minister and the member of the parliament both have a very close relation, and the council of minister also the part of legislature, and because of this it decreases the chances of conflict among the different level of decision making bodies. Executive is responsible to legislature. Third, it is that the parliamentary form of government is best suited for a country, vast country like India, and serve the or best or suitable for very diverse country like India. Fourth, it encourage mutual harmony, cooperation between executive and the legislature, and which also further ensures an efficient working. Fifth, it is that the parliamentary form of government is considered more elastic and the flexible in comparison to the other form of government, and mainly the presidential form of government, and the country like India, which is a very diverse, and in a very diverse country, the flexibility should be there, so that as per as and when the necessity arises, so by amending the constitution, the same can be fulfilled. In the presidential form, sixth one, it is that in the presidential form of government, the executive is chosen independently from the legislature, so there is a chance of conflict between executive and the legislature. But in case of parliamentary, so there is no such, and this is not the case with the parliamentary form of government. presidential form of government, it is also a democratic form of government, but the executive is chosen independently from the legislature. In the government, democratic government, it is comprised of the three organs. They are legislature, executive and the judiciary. Now the different organs we will see. First it is the Lok Sabha, and the composition of the Lok Sabha, it is the Lok Sabha has people representation from all parts of the country, and the maximum member of this house, it is 550. Out of this, 530 are directly elected from the different constituencies in the state, and rest of the members are elected from the union territories, and representative from the union territories, and not more than 25 members. So, and 2 members are nominated by the president if he is not satisfied with the representation of the Anglo-Indian community. So at present Lok Sabha has 545 members and 543 are elected and 2 members are nominated, and the period of the members of the Lok Sabha, it is of 5 years. Now the qualification of the members. Now first, candidate must be a citizen of India and should be 25 years age. He should not be a proclaimed offender. He should not be a criminal. He should not be holding an office of profit under the government. Means if anyone is government employee or holding any office of profit, then before contesting the election he should resign. And last one is his name should be there in the electoral roll in any part of the country. So these are the qualification of member of Lok Sabha. Those who want to be or those who want to contest the election, so they need to fulfill all these qualification or the criteria. Now election and working. So Lok Sabha, it is normally elected, or the member of the Lok Sabha, members are elected for 5 years, and the Lok Sabha can be dissolved by the president even before the specific period. In emergency situation, or if any emergency arises or comes, so the life of the Lok Sabha can be extended by 6 months, and in abnormal situation, okay, so the same can be extended for a period of maximum 3 years. Every adult citizen of 18 years or more has the right to vote in the election of the member of Lok Sabha, and this voting right, it is called universal adult franchise. Now after the election to the parliament, every representative from all the constituencies, so they take oath of faith, loyalty to the Constitution of India. Once the representative are elected, so after going to the parliament, so all are to take an oath of faith and loyalty to the Constitution. Now next is the speaker. All the members of the Lok Sabha, so they elect one member from among themselves as the speaker, and the speaker presides over the meeting of the Lok Sabha and maintain the decorum of the house. At present, Om Birla is the speaker of Lok Sabha. The speaker decides whether a bill is money bill or not, or money bill or ordinary bill. In case of the deadlock, so the speaker has casting vote. Speaker can suspend a member from the house, and the speaker appoint the parliamentary committee and guide them in their works. The speaker can adjourn the house if lack quorum. If the decorum and the quorum of the house is not maintained, then the speaker has the right to adjourn the house. Next, the member of the Lok Sabha also elect one deputy speaker as well, and the deputy speaker becomes active in absence of the speaker. Next, Rajya Sabha, the upper house of the parliament, it is called as the Rajya Sabha, and now we will come to know the composition. Rajya Sabha, it is a permanent house. It is never dissolved. Lok Sabha can be dissolved, but Rajya Sabha never dissolved. It represents the federating states of the Indian Union. Each state elect a certain number of the Rajya Sabha member depending upon its population. Rajya Sabha can have maximum 250 members, and the 238 are elected from the federating state of the Indian Union, and 12 members are nominated by the president from different fields such as science, arts, technology, education. At present, Rajya Sabha has 245 members, 233 are elected and from the state in the union territories, and rest are nominated by the 12 are nominated by the president. Rajya Sabha, it is also called as permanent house. Why? Because the member of the Rajya Sabha are elected for a period of the 6 years, and after every 2 years, 1/3 of its member are elected who continues till next 6 years. Member can be re-elected if they have desire or have the support of their parties. So, next it is the qualification to be a member of the Rajya Sabha. He must be an Indian citizen and should have at least 30 years of age and should not be proclaimed offender. Like the Lok Sabha, he should not hold any office of profit under the government. His name must be there in the voter list of the state from where he is contesting election. So, if I am to contest this Rajya Sabha election, then my name should be there in the voter list in the state. Like in the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha to have chairman and the deputy chairman, and the vice president is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha, and the deputy chairman is elected by the members of the Rajya Sabha from among themselves. The works and function of the Rajya Sabha also, chairman is similar to that the speaker of Lok Sabha, and the deputy chairman becomes active when the chairman is absent. Like in the Lok Sabha, when the speaker of the Lok Sabha is absent, then the deputy speaker becomes active. So, here in case of Rajya Sabha also, so when the chairman is absent, so deputy chairman becomes active. Now, next it is the president of India. India is a republic country where the head of the state is elected one, not the hereditary or the selected one in India. So, the nominal head of the state is president. He is elected for a definite period and can be re-elected as per the constitutional provision. He is elected for a period of 5 years. Now, the qualification to become president, the candidate must be an Indian citizen he must be, his name must be there in the voter list, and he must not be less than 35 years of age, and he should also not be a member of the parliament. He should not holding any office of profit under the state or the central government. He must vacate before contesting the election. He must resign or from the post what he is holding. Now, election of the president of the country is elected by the members of both the houses of the parliament and as well as the members of the legislative assemblies. Now, the tenure or the period of the president is elected for a period of 5 years and can be re-elected. And to remove the president from the office, it is a very tough, and he can be removed from the office through the process of impeachment. Whenever he violates the constitution, then he can be removed by going through the process of impeachment. President of India lives in the Rashtrapati Bhavan so long as he remains in the office. Now, salary and the other allowances. So, salary of the president, it is 1 lakh per month. Apart from that, he also gets many other allowances, and now we will see the power of the president. First one, it is the executive power. So, all the appointment of the senior officials are made by the President of India. All the union territories are under the administration of the president, and the international treaties have to be signed in the name of the president of the country, means President of India. So, these are the three powers of the president, means executive powers. And now next it is the judicial. He is not answerable to any court of law for discharging of his duty while being in office. He has the power to grant pardon or to reduce the sentence to any individual who has been declared guilty or guilty of any offense. So, these are his judicial power, and now the legislative power. So, he has the power to dissolve the Lok Sabha. So, while discussing the working of the Lok Sabha, so we came to know about the dissolving of Lok Sabha. President has the power to dissolve the Lok Sabha, and no bill can become a law without his approval. So, once a bill is passed by both the houses, say the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, so the same will be sent for his approval. So, if he do not approve or sign the bill, so this will not become law. So, this is his legislative power. President can issue ordinance when none of the house are in session. President also summon and address the parliament twice in a year. So, twice in a year, so he address and summon the parliament. Next, it is the financial power. So, he has the power to sanction money from the contingency fund to meet the need for the welfare of the people or the state. No bill can be introduced in the parliament without his approval. So, whatever the bill is introduced in the parliament, so his prior approval is required. Now, next it is the emergency power. President, he also have emergency power. So, now president can use his emergency power under the following circumstances. In case of the financial crisis take place, then he can use his emergency power. Next, it is the failure of the constitutional machinery, or if constitutional or the state, any state or the country, it is not running according to the constitution, then he can use his emergency power. Or when there is a danger of foreign aggression, or if a foreign power try to attack India, or any danger comes of foreign aggression, then the president can use his emergency power. Next, Prime Minister. Prime Minister, President is the nominal head and the Prime Minister is the real head of the executive and the country also, he is the central point of the government around which the entire constitutional machinery revolves. Now, the Council of the Minister led by the Prime Minister is the most powerful institution of Indian Constitution and the political life of the country as well. Prime Minister, the President of India appoint the leader of the majority party or the coalition parties as the Prime Minister, and the President appoint the Council of Minister on the advice of the Prime Minister. Whatever the names the Prime Minister will recommend, so all the names will be approved and or appointed by the President as the Council of Ministers. Sometimes it also happens that outsider can also be made as the minister, but he must be get elected to either house of the parliament within 6 months, and if fails to do so, if fails to get elected in either house of the parliament, then he will have to resign from his post. Next, we will see the function of the Prime Minister. Prime Minister act as a link between Council of Minister and the President. All important appointment made by the President as per consultation with the Prime Minister. Prime Minister can advise the President when to summon the Parliament and to declare emergency. All the council, the next function, it is all the Council of Minister are given ministry by the President as per advice of the Prime Minister, that already I said you. Prime Minister can or may reshuffle his minister from time to time. Prime Minister is also the ex officio chairman of the Planning Commission, and now this commission is also called as Niti Aayog. Now next, it is the Council of Minister. The Council of Minister have these distinct categories of the minister, and these are Cabinet Minister, Minister of the State and Deputy Minister. Next, function of the Council of Minister. All the major policy decisions are taken by the Cabinet, whether it is external or the internal. Now, the Council of Minister bears the responsibility of controlling the expenditure of the country and raising the funds or required revenue to meet the needs to development and welfare of the common people. So the Council of Ministers, they are to do this. Now next, it is the government and the parliament. Union government is collectively responsible to the parliament for all its decisions and the policies. The minister leading any department is answerable to the parliament for any shortcoming in his policies or works or the decisions whatever they take, they are answerable to the parliament. Now the powers of the parliament. Indian parliament, it is bicameral body, it has two houses, I said Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Now first power we will see the legislative power. The Indian parliament, it is the highest lawmaking body and it makes laws for the whole country. Parliament makes law on subject mentioned in the union list and the concurrent list, and if any emergency or during the declaration of the emergency, the parliament can also make law even in the subject mentioned in the state list. Three lists are there: union list, state list and the concurrent list. So whatever the power, say the education, it is in the concurrent list. Both central union government and the both state government both can enjoy. whatever the powers are listed in the concurrent list, this union list, only central government have the right to enjoy these powers, or the powers which are mentioned or listed in the state list, only the state governments have the right. Concurrent list, both the government have the right. Now, during the declaration of the emergency, or when the emergency is declared by the president, so at that time, so parliament have the right, or the parliament can make law during such situation. And in which list? Even state list also. Next, it is the executive power. Parliament control the executive by questioning the minister about their policies and the decision. Now, in the parliamentary form of government, Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha, or the House of the People. Now, the representative, the elected representative, so they are to fulfill the wishes of the common people. So, if the executives, they fails to meet or fulfill the wishes and the aspiration of the common people, then they are answerable to the House. Their policies, decisions, this will be questioned in the parliament, and they are to answer. Next, it is the financial power. The parliament exercise control over the financial resources of the country, and also money bill can be moved only in the Lok Sabha. Separately, we will discuss the money bill. Next, constitutional power. Parliament has power to make or to amend the constitution more than 120 times. Indian constitution already amended by the parliament. So, 2/3 majority required to amend the constitution. Now, other powers of the parliament. Now, the member of the either house of the parliament elect the president, that we have already discussed. Parliament plays a key role in making the law for the entire country. A bill, whenever a bill is introduced, so the bill passes through several stages. Bills are of basically two types. One is money bill, another is ordinary bill. Now, when a bill is introduced, so the first reading is all about. So, when bill is introduced in the house by the ministers or the private member, so copies of the bill are given to all the members in the house, and the member introduce the bill explaining the aim and objective of the bill. Now, the bill will go for the second reading. So, in the second reading, so member discuss the bill thoroughly, and those who favor it support the bill, and those who want changes, so they suggest the changes. The introduced bill is discussed in the light of the public interest, taking care of their needs, the common people needs, and the aspiration and wills. Then the parliament constitute a committee which discuss each and every aspect of the bill and submit its report within a fixed period. Then the bill goes for third reading, and in this reading a brief discussion also takes place. At this stage, so members, they argue in favor of the bill or else oppose it to be rejected. If they find it unsatisfactory, so they oppose it, they reject it. After this discussion, so the bill is put to vote, and having been passed by that house, the bill is sent to the next house where it passes through the same process. After passing the bill by the one house, so the bill will go to the next house. So if passed by Lok Sabha, then bill will go to Rajya Sabha and will go through the same process, first reading, second reading, third reading, like this. When both the houses will pass the bill, so the same will send for president approval or his signature. So once the president approves the bill, then the same will become law. So these are the different stages that the bill go through, and these are ordinary bill. Money bill, now we will see money bill. Money bill is only introduced in the Lok Sabha, and in case of the money bill, Rajya Sabha has very limited power. Rajya Sabha can hold the money bill for 14 days and may return the bill to the Lok Sabha with some suggestion that may or may not accepted by the Lok Sabha. However, if the Rajya Sabha, again the Lok Sabha will send the money bill, and if Rajya Sabha does not return the bill for 14 days, so the bill is considered to have been passed by the Rajya Sabha. So that is why Rajya Sabha has very limited power in case of this money bill, and there is no any provision for joint session of both the houses to discuss about this money bill. So in case of money bill, Lok Sabha enjoys absolute power. Next, this is all about the money bill. Next, we will discuss some important act. First one is the Minimum Wage Act. So the act, it was introduced in the parliament, and on 15 March 1948 the bill was implemented. This Minimum Wage Bill Act proved landmark in the history of India. Why? Because it proved a boost to the labor class. Why and how? Because by protecting their interest and mainly their wages. This act made the state and the central government to implement the fixation or revision of the minimum rate of the wages for their employees. So because of this act, both the central and the state government had to fix or revise the minimum rate of wages for their employees, either central government employees or the state government employees. Now what is wage? Now wage, it refers to the remuneration, and this remuneration which is expressed in terms of money. So when employees, they work for the central government or the state government, so in return, so the employees are given money, wages or the remuneration. This is called wages. Next, the minimum wage legislation, a critical review. Now we have to see, so this act has not been able to effectively check the irregularities in the wages given to the workers, because the coverage of this act is to protect the workers only. So to make it more effective, so time to time revision is a must, and that is why revision is must, to day by day or decade by decade or after number of years. So the standard of the people living standard gets changed. So as a result, this revision of the wages of the employees need to be done, and to give a boost to the minimum wage act and to remove the weakness. So that is why the same to be done. In the year 2006, a parliamentary committee on the National Rural Employment Guarantee found that the minimum wages varied from one state to another, and it is found that workers have to work in a very unhygienic condition. Whenever workers they do work in a very unhygienic condition, so they are to suffer from number of diseases. So we may, in the near future, we may see the better working condition being provided to the worker, but it may take some time. Wherever the workers they work, either in the manufacturing unit or the coal industry or the other, the different unhygienic industries, so and mainly those owns and managed by the individual or the group of individual, their one and only intention is to earn maximum profit or to maximize more profit. So that is why they do not bother on about the working of the labor, whether they are working in a very hygienic condition or very unhygienic condition. Now, amending of the constitution, it is all about to changes or to bring changes to the constitution. Now, this minimum wage bill act, which was implemented on 15 March 1948, so here we have seen this the critical review also. With this, the discussion of this chapter and your second evaluation full course is finished. You read the full course and also this chapter, enjoy this class, and in my earlier classes also I told that I shall give you notes. You read well at home this chapter and the other 3 chapters and enjoy all the classes nicely, and if you face any problem or any doubt, so you call me every night from 8 to 10 p.m. and I shall help you. So this is all about the day's discussion, and I hope you all are fine, doing well at home. Thanks to all.